Today, I want to tell you 3 foods that you're eating wrong, or 3 types of foods that you're eating wrong, and how you can now capitalize on eating them correctly and get all the gains from the nutrients and the macros that make them up. It's not necessarily you're actually eating these foods wrong, but there is a better way to be using them, or more ways to be using them that will better steward the resource that is the food that you have. This podcast episode came about after I read something on Monday, and my brain dove into a deep research hole, and here we are on Saturday with so many things to tell you. Probably too much than you ever asked for. But my passion for healthy living is probably 60-40, the 60 being healthy fitness and the 40 being healthy eating. And as I have interviewed some people on this podcast, you've heard me ask, what do you think is more important, a perfect diet or a perfect training plan? And the more I think about that, the more I remember that a perfect diet can overcome anything. People used to never work out. Your grandparents didn't pay $25 a month to go to a gym and pick up heavy things and set them down. They just lived their lives because their lives were more manually labored, period. And so we have subtracted all of the manual labor from our lives, which means that now we are still eating the same, if not worse. And that is why obesity and the health crisis has skyrocketed. But healthy eating, meaning if a person just ate in maintenance naturally throughout their life, they could never work out and they would be okay. It would be better for them to do some kind of training, some kind of walking, but an amazing, perfect training plan, you can have a person who is training for hours on a day, and if they're eating like crap, they're still going to feel like crap and probably look a little bit like crap. So I do believe that they would be best partnered together, but in a circumstance of a person who is not working out and still eating healthy, they're still better off than somebody who is just not eating healthy and eating like crap. So that sort of built this episode in, and my passion for healthy eating is surrounded by a passion of somebody who truly loves cooking for other people. I have talked about my struggles with food on this a little bit, but food for me is functional. It's not fun, meaning that when I look at food, I'm just asking, what is that going to do for me? What is that food going to produce in my output? But some people can truly enjoy food, and what makes me happy is seeing people enjoy food that I cooked for them. So my favorite kids movie is Ratatouille, and the line in there, anyone can cook. I believe that maybe not anyone can cook to make good tasting food, but anyone can cook healthy, nutritious food because the cavemen did it over a fire, and we have so many things today that make steak and eggs, or vegetables and a little bit of pasta, or rice and chicken. That is so easy to do, so anyone truly can cook that. And even if you are a person who is cooking healthy, today I want to introduce you to 3 things that I think you are still cooking or eating wrong. My love for food means that I hate food waste. I did a whole project in high school where I explored food waste by literally going to grocery stores and restaurants in my hometown and observing how much food was thrown away. And it just made me so sad because I'm a person who just hates wasting money, wasting time, wasting resources. And food is something that we're all pouring money into, and then half of the stuff we buy is getting thrown in the trash can. A large part of food waste is happening not at restaurants and grocery stores, but from the household. I think the statistic from the WHO organization is that 1 pound of food per day is thrown away per person in a household. So that means 1 pound of food, whether it be scraps from dinner, whether it be some of the scraps that we're going to talk about. It's just we are throwing away so much food, and as I will get into, that is oftentimes the most nutritious part of it. We're not just literally eating these foods wrong, but you're probably wasting time and nutrition, and thus money, eating them in the wrong way. Fresh produce, fruits, and vegetables experience the highest wastage rates at 40 to 50% due to their short shelf lives and the cosmetic standards that we all put on them. So there's some obvious ones that I hope you're already doing, which is like potatoes, cucumbers, apples. Don't peel them and throw away the peel. that's just wasting time, period. If you're peeling a cucumber, like, you don't taste the skin, just eat it. Same thing with an apple, and same thing with a potato. If you wash these things, those parts of the vegetable will make it a better tasting and a better textured product in the end. And so those are kind of the obvious ones that I hope you're already listening to. If you're not, you should start doing it. So all of these foods that I'm going to be explaining to you today are fruits, vegetables, adjacent, all of those things. And to kind of set up how we're going to look at this, I want to give you a metaphor, because metaphors mean you remember. And so think of all of these foods that I'm going to reintroduce to you in a more holistic way, literally, as deep cleaning your floors. So the fibrous skin on vegetables is like the heavy-duty bristle broom. It is tough and stiff-bristled because it handles the initial rugged work on a dirty floor. Think of a vegetable, or like a potato. A potato is grown in the ground. That skin is supposed to protect it, which is why it looks kind of ugly and a little scaly and a little rough, because its job is to do the heavy work for that potato. So just like a heavy broom, when you're starting to clean your floors, the first thing you should do is sweep up the dirt and get the bunch of the dirt gone, so that then you can go a little bit cleaner. For our gut, the fibrous outer skin passes through our system, meaning our intestines, and it literally acts as that broom, literally brooming and sweeping through the digestive tract to clear out debris that is hanging around. It scrubs the walls. It keeps everything moving smoothly. It needs that rough, unpolished texture to do this heavy lifting. So almost every fruit or vegetable that has a skin, that skin is what you want most, because it's going to go through the digestive tract first and sort of prep your pipes for what's coming in to then be able to be absorbed and be able to be used by your body more. So we want to, honestly, the skin is like that first sweep of your dirty floor. Then you have the high concentrate, like power cleaner. This is the nutrient-dense outer layer of many fruits, usually the kind that we don't want to eat because it's not as sweet. Why is it not as sweet? Well, it's because this powerhouse layer, we're going to talk a lot about a watermelon. So think of the white part of a watermelon. A watermelon, the white part, you honestly don't like it because it's a little bit bitter and it doesn't have any sweetness to it. But that's because it's packing all of the stuff that's in the red part of the watermelon without the sugar, which means that the rind is actually better for you. Just like a power cleaner sprayer for your floors, it is an intense, specialized cleaning solution that lifts stains, sanitizes, and restores your floor. That outer part of the fruit that many of us throw away is the powerhouse layer beneath the skin. It holds the pure, high-octane vitality packed with concentrated fluids, concentrated vitamins, and antioxidants. It completely sanitizes and rejuvenates your system from the inside out, delivering maximum nutritional power without dumping a bunch of the sticky sugar on your intestine walls. So first we swept the floor with the fiber, we swept out all the debris, and then we're bringing in this rind, or the less sweeter part of a fruit, and we're bringing that in to kind of coat the sides with a nice clean layer so that then the sugar can just pass through. Which brings us to the last one. The part of the fruit that we all love because it's sweet and juicy is like the finishing air freshener in your room. So you already did the scrubbing the floors. You already did the sweeping the floors. The sweet part of the fruit is just like the finishing touch. It's fragrant, it's pleasant, and it makes the room smell amazing, basically meaning it makes you feel good when you eat it. For our body, it's like the icing on a cake, but that's a horrible metaphor because this is a health podcast. But the sweet, delicious inner fruit flesh is rewarding, enjoyable, and it helps you finish the process after cleaning your body the right way. It makes the whole experience pleasant, but with a fragrance it makes the whole experience pleasant, but the fragrance isn't what got your floor clean. You needed the rugged broom and the powerhouse cleaner to do the real work so that you could simply enjoy the taste or the smell of the sweetness at the end. So, with that metaphor in mind, let's go into the first thing that started this rabbit hole Dan Churchill released his newsletter, which is called Legendary, and he's a Michelin star chef turned athlete. So I obviously love him because he's both the things that I'm passionate about. But he wrote a newsletter about how watermelon, and we were not eating the white part. And the white part is the most nutritious part. And full confession is that when I read this, I immediately felt so understood, because I have for my entire life, and I've never said it out loud because I thought it was weird, I have for my entire life eaten watermelon down to the green rind because I preferred the white part of the watermelon, which you're going to think she's insane. Or if you know me, you're like, yeah, that kind of just tracks that Morgan would be the type of person that would like the white part of the watermelon, which to that I no longer feel offended. I just accept it. But basically I'm saying that I've always enjoyed the white part of the watermelon more than the red part. And this just hammered down why I love it. Probably. Not really. It just gives me validation for my strangeness. But obviously we know a watermelon is 92% water, but the other 8% is where this gets really interesting. So watermelon has high citrulline, which boosts your blood flow. L-citrulline is an amino acid that your body makes some of on its own, but not enough. So what you can eat and what you can digest, it kind of tops off that natural L-citrulline. And an amino acid, the easiest way to explain that is they are just the proteins that bind together and help repair things like muscles, or just like DNA breaking down. And so L-citrulline works to also, since it boosts your blood flow, it's in a lot of pre-workouts, because we've had an episode about getting the pump. Basically, it literally forces your blood vessels to open up more and then also dilate, and open up more and dilate. And so it's in pre-workouts because it helps people get their biceps pumped so that they feel better during their workout. Helps you look better when you're posing in the mirror, whatever it be. They increase blood flow. So L-citrulline is in a lot of those pre-workouts because it makes you look better when you pose in the mirror. But how that all works is L-citrulline, as you eat it, it travels through, it gets converted in the kidneys and the liver, and it gets converted into arginine, and arginine can then help aid in the production of nitric oxide. So citrulline, you're probably thinking, why don't we just eat arginine then? If you eat arginine, it gets broken down in your gut by the stomach acid before it ever gets to be used. Citrulline bypasses that stomach acid and gets converted in the kidneys, and so then it can be used. So that is why citrulline is actually better at doing arginine's job than arginine is on by itself. And when arginine becomes nitric oxide, that is what helps runners. If you can think of the same thing as why they take beetroot shots, that's a big thing in the runner community. It's because it opens up those blood vessels so that more oxygen can travel through more efficiently, so you breathe better and you can run better. So watermelon does the same thing. It converts the citrulline into arginine, and arginine aids in nitric oxide. And nitric oxide makes you breathe better, makes you work better when you're working out. It widens your blood vessels so that more blood and oxygen and fuel can reach a working muscle. And it also helps you clear the waste faster. So lactic acid or ammonium, as those build up as you're stressing out your body and you're stressing out your muscles, because the blood vessels are wider, they can get the good stuff in faster and get the bad stuff out faster. All good things when you're trying to push performance. Simply eating arginine isn't efficient because your gut breaks it down. We covered that. And citrulline skips that step. All watermelon has citrulline, but the white part has 50 to 60% more citrulline and over 10% more fiber than the red part, all while offering lower sugar content. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the sugar in watermelon is bad because it's fruit. Like, I eat a lot of fruit, and I understand that maybe that says you have too much sugar, but if it's fruit sugar, I'm considering that fine because I don't get sugar anywhere else, and I prefer the fruit sugar, and it's more easily convertible into energy, and it's natural. God's sugar is good sugar, right? So basically, the white part has like 50% more of the citrulline and 10% more of the fiber. And so if you think about the concentration of a watermelon, how much of that potential nutrient and energy are you throwing out when you just cut off the red part? This is my anti-food waste person coming out, but my least favorite thing. Like, it literally irks me to watch somebody cut wedges out of their watermelon, and then like you still see like their bite marks and there's red still on it and there's certainly still white on it, and I'm just like shaking in my boots because I'm so angry that they're wasting that much food. There is no reason why you should spend $6 to $7 on a watermelon and throw 45% of it in the trash. If you cut off just the green rind, you will be amazed by how little is being thrown away. I did it yesterday when I bought a watermelon, and I bet my trash can was maybe half a pound heavy. And all of that watermelon, it was put into 2 different buckets. I have all the red stuff that I can share with people because they're not crazy and won't eat the white part. And then I have all the white part. And what am I going to do with the white part? Well, personally, I just enjoy eating the white part because it's essentially a cucumber. Like, the next time you buy a watermelon, separate the red from the white, and the white part just tastes like a cucumber and it has the texture of a cucumber. Which brings me to, what can you do with that if you can't just be a man and eat it? You can do so many things. You can, the first obvious option is just to blend it in a smoothie, freeze the whites and blend it in a smoothie, because then it's just essentially added nutrients for very minimal flavor and whatever your smoothie flavor is going to be. Or my favorite application or use of the cucumber is in cold salads. So you can do, I just called it a cucumber. In cold salads, the white rind of the watermelon is just a cucumber. So whatever you would put a cucumber in, like pico or just a cold berry salad, or even just a normal salad with some lettuce greens. Don't eat lettuce right now. That's a news flash. Don't use a cold salad right now. But you can also do it in stir fries, or my favorite Thai dish is a green papaya salad. And I saw a recipe where they took the rind of the watermelon and they shaved it into long strips and they put it in the Thai papaya salad with the spicy peanut sauce, which would also be very good for your culinary practice and exploring new foods. So those are all options of what you can do with it. But I beg you, just stop throwing apart the white rind of the watermelon. And if you're sitting here thinking, I can't cut all the green part off, like that seems like a difficult slice, you're also cutting your watermelon wrong. Cut it in half one time, put it down, like face down with the red part on there with half of it, so you got the little dome. And then instead of cutting it into wedges, just cut it like you would cut, I don't even know what people would cut, but do rods. Like, you can look up a video. They'll call it a life hack. It's really not. I think it's just obvious. But cut your watermelon in equal strips one way, and then equal strips the other way, so that you have just a rod of watermelon. And then it's as simple as you have like basically a rectangular prism. There's your geometry. And you have a rectangular prism, and you cut off the little bit of green on the outside. Throw that away, because the rind, I'm not here to tell you I found a reason to use the white rind, or to use the green rind of the watermelon. It is too hard to chew. But the white part, then you'll have a little cube of white part to put in your one bucket. And then you have the red that you can slice as B. And it makes it so easy. And again, you'll have very minimal waste. And going back to the nutrients of the watermelon, the higher fiber content obviously helps aid better digestion. It'll go through and sweep out all the bad stuff in your gut for that. It'll also help you feel fuller. That's what fiber does. The high citrulline clears waste, which also means that it lowers soreness. So there's been studies to measure just citrulline levels, and athletes who have more citrulline in their blood have less soreness, again, because they're more efficient at clearing out the waste. So there's so many benefits to eating just citrulline, which is in the watermelon. There's also lycopene, which, if you can remember, is a carotenoid from 2 weeks ago, and potassium, which is an electrolyte from last week. Watermelon and most vegetables have all of those things that they can offer you, and we're just throwing away the most nutritious parts of them. So this week, go buy a watermelon and eat the white part. It's so good, and I have nothing to say to you. It's worth it. So this week, go buy a watermelon, cut it into rods, not into wedges, and enjoy the white part in some different fashion. Even if you're just blending into a smoothie. But I guarantee you won't hate the white part as much as you think you will. The second food that we are eating wrong is carrot greens, beet greens, celery, literally any leaves or tops. So often people slice off the green part of their vegetable and then just do something with the vegetable. All of those greens are so nutritious. Carrot tops and celery leaves, they have 6 times more vitamin C and vitamin A than the actual carrot or the celery themselves, which means that if you throw away the leaves, you are getting 1/6 of the nutrients you could be getting from that purchase. Again, this is all about stewarding our resources. And if you're buying celery, if you're buying carrots, if you're growing them in your garden, that's even better because then you know for sure that the greens are clean. They're so nutritious. It's wasteful and also just stupid to throw them away. Alongside the 6 times more vitamins, they also have more magnesium. We talked about that last week, which is an electrolyte. And they're also, the flavor in carrot greens and celery greens is really interesting. Carrot greens are similar to parsley, and celery greens kind of just still taste like celery. I would say it's kind of a cross between parsley and cilantro. So they're herbaceous and punchy, more punchy than like just spinach. So they will actually add flavor to whatever you use them in, whether it be a salad or just on top of your poultry or your steak. You could slice them up and also put them in a smoothie or blend them into a pesto and make it into a pasta dish. They are very flavorful, and I especially love carrot greens because they're really aesthetic. If you slice them and sprinkle them on top of your dishes, they just add a nice flavor. And again, I'm a foodie, so I like to make things that look good. And so they'll look cute on your Instagram post, even if you don't appreciate the 6 times more vitamins. Beet greens, this is a new one that I learned because I had never bought fresh beets. I love beets. Again, they aid my running with that nitric oxide. But I bought some golden beets at a farmer's market, or they were given to me, and I was going to just discard the leaves, but it made me so sad because literally the leaves weighed more than the golden beets that I had gotten. And so what I did was I started to research what they were, and I found out that beet greens have 34% of the daily value that the FDA tells you to get of iron. And as a iron deficient girl, I was like, man, that's crazy. I'm going to eat the greens. And so they have about 3 milligrams, whereas the roots, the actual beet part that you would eat, only have a fraction of iron. And so obviously more iron is great for almost everybody, especially runners. If you discard the if you discard the leaves of the beets, you're also throwing away calcium, vitamins A and C, and it's, again, more iron than a serving of spinach. The hard part with beet greens and a lot of other hardier greens is that they're a little bitter. They take a little bit more work to get the flavor to either be hidden or to be used in collaboration with whatever dish. So think of beet greens similar to Swiss chard. So you're going to want to roast them a little bit or saute them a little bit just to break down that fiber so that they're a little bit easier to eat. But I think the flavor is really interesting, and they do add a good crunch to anything. Some things that I did with my beet greens were I did try them in a smoothie. They were very coarse, and so they didn't blend up as good as I wanted them to. But then I sliced them up, and I would throw them in with some of my eggs, like my scrambled eggs, like an omelet. Or I did just do, saute them with my chicken and rice at the end of the day. And they basically act like a spinach that doesn't wilt as much. Taste more like a Swiss chard. So once you clean them and get them all nice disinfected, especially if you're buying them from a store, then they're really good for you. They pack so much goodness in the leaves. So this third and final one might be where I lose you because even my dearly loved roommate looked at me real weird when I suggested one of these. But I believe that we should be eating the whole fruit in most cases. I have not found a way that you can bake a banana peel and put it in banana bread. That one might make you lose friends. Have not tried that one yet. But in 2 cases, I believe I can coax you to start eating the whole fruit and save you time and effort and food waste. The first one is a strawberry. So a strawberry has a little green stem on the top. It is called a calyx. 100% edible, won't change the flavor, and instead of you sitting there with a little paring knife and cutting off the green part, just eat the whole strawberry. what this does, first of all, obviously the whole strawberry and the green part have vitamin C, fiber, and trace electrolytes like potassium and magnesium, just like all the other fruits and vegetables we've been talking about. In that little green leaf of a strawberry, there is something different that is beyond what is in the berry. It is ellagic acid. This is a polyphenol antioxidant that the NIH has found in preliminary research to aid in anti-inflammation and chemopreventive activity. Polyphenols are supposedly good for cancer patients and avoiding cancer. That ellagic acid is concentrated in the strawberry leaf and the stem, called the calyx. Beyond that, in the polyphenol, there is also a thing called tannin. A tannin is what makes a strawberry leaf really good at sort of calming you down. Tannins are really popular in teas because they help settle the stomach. They help be a remedy for like diarrhea or indigestion. And they basically are good for calming down at night as well, because again, they just kind of put your body in that rest and digest stage. And so that tannin is also very concentrated in the calyx of a strawberry. So knowing that, one, again, I would say just be a man and eat the whole strawberry, because you then don't waste time pulling the green part off. And I can tell you that one of my favorite long run foods is if I absolutely need something in the middle of a long run, I have stopped at a Hy-Vee and bought a case of strawberries and eaten them, and then proceeded to run like 12 more miles. And it's great because then I'm not like looking for somewhere to throw away the green parts. Beyond that, I would like to tell you that the strawberry parts are really good for teas. And so some of the recipes, if you cannot convince yourself just to eat the whole strawberry, are to take off the green part, just pick them off. Don't get a knife out, just pick the green part off. And you can dry it for teas. You can blend it into smoothies, the same thing you can with any other greens. And it's really good if you put it in some teas and steep it in some water, and then you'll get that tannin production and help with digestion or even just calming down at night, or use the ellagic acid to be a polyphenol. The next one is a kiwi, and this is the one that got my roommate looking at me real weird when I said I just eat a kiwi like an apple. One, I'm not about to spend 7 minutes with a spoon trying to scrape out the green part of a kiwi. Two, I just like the skin. Like, I like the texture that the skin offers when you add it to the fruit. The skin has 50% more fiber and 30% more nutrients. What are those nutrients? Well, the skin of a kiwi increases your folate by 34%. Folate is vitamin B9, and it helps your body turn carbohydrates into fuel, glucose, and produce energy from that fuel. It is critical for your liver, your skin, your hair, and your eyes, and it keeps your nervous system working properly. It is especially important when people are pregnant and have folate deficiencies, which can lead to complications in life with birth defects or anemia. So kiwis are really good for people who are anemic or iron deficient because folate aids in that production and aids in that process. So besides folate, kiwis in the skin offer a higher concentration of serotonin, which is just the relax dopamine or the relax receptor neurotransmitter. So if you can't just eat a kiwi like an apple, and again, I'm going to keep saying it, if you can't just be a man and eat the kiwi, you can wash them, which you should wash them first anyway, but if you scrub them with something like a rag or something, the fuzz will come off if the fuzz is holding you back. You can also slice them and put them into smoothies. If you've been told to limit, there was a weird side note in my research that said, if you've been told to limit oxalates, which I think are also in potatoes, these are people who have like kidney stones, don't eat the skin. That's all it said. It said that the skin has a high concentration of oxalates. Same with a potato. If you have a problem with oxalates, you're not supposed to eat white potatoes, I feel like. And that just slows down your digestion and isn't good apparently if you already are having kidney stones. So if you're not that person, eat the whole kiwi. The last one that I want to suggest, and it's a little harder to convince people, is to eat the skin of citrus in some way or fashion. So obviously you can't bite, I mean you could. I think I had a friend in high school who would just bite oranges like apples, but you probably shouldn't do that. That's weird. But you can use the skin in a lot of different ways. So I'll freeze the orange skin and then pull it out and add it to desserts. Like I'll blend it in with like a yogurt-based like Ninja Creamy, or you can put it onto pies, or you can honestly turn any skin into a natural cleaner just by letting the skin seep in some vinegar, and then it's like a natural scented cleaner. It's also really good for you. Zest is good in everything. Almost every dish can benefit from some sort of acid, whether that be vinegar or zest or juice, which means that you can use the whole fruit. The actual eating part of the fruit is good for you too. I would just say sometimes people are pulling off the pulp. That's not necessary. Like the pulp, again, is kind of like that white rind of a watermelon. It packs more nutrients without the sugar, and so you actually want the pulp. So basically the whole trend of this episode is that you should just be an adult and eat the whole thing that you are buying, not just the part that is filled with sugar, because it's all good for you, and the parts that you're throwing away are actually better for you. If the peel or the rind scare you, if the places that I'm asking you to explore your taste buds in your fruit and vegetables scare you today, I just would challenge you with my favorite quote again from the movie Ratatouille. He says, "Anyone can cook." And then Chef Gusteau goes on to say, "But only the fearless can be great." So anyone can cook, but only the fearless can be great. And what I'm challenging you to be today is the fearless person who believes that greatness lies in the scraps of God's groceries, which are the fruits that you're buying and the vegetables that you're buying, and that you've been throwing away the free nutrition that's being offered to you by the fruit that you thought you just wanted because it tasted good. So this week, buy a watermelon, eat the white part, eat a whole kiwi, stop wasting your time picking off the green parts of strawberries, and beyond that, starve the lies, build your body, fortify your mind, stay hungry, and always stay unsatisfied. Have a great week, guys.